Hi guys, just doing a quick review of The Walking Dead season 2. Like probably my second favorite season of the entire series, and a lot of people's favorite now. Because back in the day, not a lot of people liked the season. They found it boring since it was on a farm, Herschel's farm. But a lot of people look back at that season and they realize how good that season actually was with character development and just so many character moments, especially for Shane, man. Like he was the MVP of that season. Like he owned that season. And man, just it sometimes makes you think like, what if he stayed longer? Yeah, and obviously I'm going to talk about spoilers because this is an old season. So yeah, because obviously he dies at the end of season 2. But if you're also a comic book fan, he actually lived longer than he did in the comic. Because in the comic, he basically would have died at the end of season 1 or the penultimate episode of season 1. So basically 5 or 6 of the first season, like in episode 5 or 6, like one of those. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would have seen him die in episode 5 instead of Jim. Like maybe his death would have been a bit earlier. Like maybe episode 4 instead. Because Jim's like the big death of episode 5 when they're leaving behind. Because he's gonna turn because he got bit, and then episode 6 we're at that place, and then that doesn't work out. Then they're basically on the road basically, yeah. And just the way how they start the season, where they're on the road and they get surrounded by the zombies and they're trying to survive, and the zombies like get into the RV and stuff, and it's just what a crazy way to open the season. Basically, what lies ahead is it? I think that's what it's called, and there's like something in the Telltale game that's also called that, which is cool. Like one of the episodes in the first season, yeah. Yeah, what a way to open the season, man. Just everyone in danger by the walkers when the walkers were actually still dangerous. I mean, the walkers in this season, those like stealth zombies, like a lot of the time, people kept getting ambushed by the walkers. Like, you can't even hear them. Like, in season 1, we had these crazy smart zombies, which that they've actually brought back now in the current season of The Walking Dead, the final season. So it's cool to see them again. But in season 2, we had like these stealth zombies where it's kind of hard to hear them if you're not gonna see them. Basically, if you don't see them coming, you're basically screwed. If because there's a chance they might be behind you and you have no idea because they don't even make no flipping footsteps. You can't even hear their footsteps. Like it's so quiet. So I love the characters like, for example, Mel. Or yeah, Mel. He bet. No, wait. I'm talking about the one person because Mel. You kind of see what happens to him in season at the end of season 1, where yeah, because basically he has to cut off his hand to escape. Because obviously, if you've watched season 1, 2, and 3, you kind of know what happens with Mel. Because he kind of gets trapped. But I'm talking about the one character. Oh damn, what's his name again? Oh man, Dale. Yeah, Dale. Because he's the one who actually gets bit by a walker. Because basically, Carl, he's kind of like playing with a walker, trying to get good at killing walkers because he wants to step up to the community. Also, I'll talk about what happens to Carl. But yeah, basically, he messes with that walker. He gets free, and then he eventually makes its way back to the farm, and he actually surprises Dale because those zombies were so stealthy, man. I mean, it was just one zombie. If that was like Shane or Rick, they would have dealt with that easily. But yeah, sadly, Mel gets killed, and sorry, brother. Daryl has to put him out of his misery. And then just all the stuff that happens with Carl and what that leads up to with Otis and Shane. Yeah, because basically when they escape the highway with all those walkers that was trying to kill them, they basically find the farm, Herschel's farm, and you get introduced to all these new characters. Herschel, Maggie, and Beth. You already know what happens with Maggie and Glenn. Like they get together and stuff, which is a nice relationship. Beth, she's a bit suicidal when we first meet her, and yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of her character when she first came in, but it was more like I kind of don't like what they do with Beth by the end of her character's journey compared to the start where, man, thinking of suicide. I mean, with how the world is, I don't really blame her, but at least someone's able to help her, especially someone who actually was trying to commit suicide before. Yeah, but Dale stops her. Yeah, in season 1. Yeah, because it seems like she's trying to help her commit suicide, but she's actually trying to get to a point where she doesn't want to do it. But in Dale's eyes, he was probably thinking like he's helping her commit suicide. She's helping her, yeah, because she actually wanted to commit suicide before. Yeah, but they eventually, resolve the situation, and she doesn't commit suicide. As for what the things that Herschel's doing this season with the walkers, like putting them in the barn, and then when Glenn and them find out, Shane just goes crazy about that. But let me just talk about what Shane does before then, when Cal gets shot by Otis by accident because he was hunting deer. Basically, they have to find the stuff to save him, and Otis kind of tells everyone where to go, and Shane's basically the one who goes with him. They get the stuff, but then there's like a bunch of walkers that are about to catch up to him. So Shane kind of decides to shoot Otis and leaves him behind. And he probably thinks like he deserves this anyway because he shot Carl anyway. So if one of them's gonna die, it's gonna be Otis, the one who caused this whole situation. But that kind of also foreshadowed like the dark things Shane was gonna do in the season and what he was gonna become. And man, he's still like people's favorite villain in the whole series. It's probably out of the Governor, Negan, and Shane, man, when it comes to the best villains. Because we have so many great villains in the show. Some a bit flat, and some just disappointing. Like Gareth, yeah, I don't really like what they did with Gareth. Like, yeah. And, the hospital villains, but, we'll get to them eventually. But Shane, man, like, because he started off as a character who was on our side, and he eventually became more darker, but then at the same time, he was actually more wise than anyone in the whole show at that point. Like, in the second season, because the way how Shane was, eventually everyone gets to that point later on in the show, but he was kind of more evolved compared to everyone else, but it's just, there was just one thing that made him bad, and he was willing to do literally anything to survive and also get his own way. So really, basically, he was willing to kill his best friend so he can be with his wife and, have his kid. Yeah, which is the messed up thing. But everything else that he was doing, if you want to live, you want to survive, you got to fight for it. I'm talking about fight right here, right now. Just, when he finds out about, the Herschel's ban and just kills all the walkers. And some of them was like Herschel's family, but, he was thinking like there was going to be a cure to make him go back to normal, but there was really no hope. And in that moment, like, Herschel just wanted to get rid of everyone because of Shane. And it's not like Shane was going to leave, so... I mean, and then it gets to a point where Shane leaves, but I guess Rick convinces him to make him stay, which... Also, you kind of get a bit of what Rick's going through, because his friends basically slowly betraying him and trying to take over his life, like, take his family. And then the stuff with Herschel, like, because he wants to get rid of everyone because of what Shane did. Yeah. Because he tries to help Herschel with, even though, like, the thing that Herschel's doing is wrong, he still tries to help him so he doesn't get kicked out, but, Shane kills all the walkers and stuff, so, yeah. Also, the stuff with, I guess, Laurie, terrible character, with finding out that she's having a baby and Glenn kind of helps her out, yeah. And there's like a situation where she's trying to drive a car and she just crashes when she's, need to look after her baby. Like, she shouldn't be driving and just ended up in that crash. It was just so silly. Just all that stuff with Laurie. Ugh. And she's kind of the reason why things got out of hand. She didn't make it clear who she truly wanted to be with. She kept messing with both of them. Yeah. And in season 3, the way how she treats Rick until, I guess, the final moments before she dies, because obviously she's gonna die. So I mean, this show's old, so you should know everything at this point. I'm just doing like a look back. Yeah, just a character, one of the worst. Yeah, I can't even really say that she had her moments. Definitely not. I didn't like her. At least in the comic, like, there was some moments where she was okay, but overall, I wasn't really a big fan of her character anyway. Yeah. But in the TV show, they made her truly unlikable. Man. But yeah, Shane, man, he was the MVP, man. Like, when it gets to a point where Wick, Herschel, and Glenn then get killed when they go to this bar, because they kind of get involved with these strangers, and it seems like they're gonna, basically kill them. But then, like, Wick has to make the hard decision and kill them, because that's the first people we ever see Wick kill. Because eventually he's gonna have to, actually possibly have to kill anyone who gets in his way and become more like how Shane is by the time, we get to season 5. He's basically Shane. He's basically Shane, man. Just, not willing to betray his friends and, take their loved ones, or, just some of the things that Shane does in this season that make him a villain. Yeah. Because it gets to a point where they're fighting as well. But, basically over the person who they decide to spare, who tried to kill them. So they keep him hostage. and they're trying to, debate what they should do with him. Shane just wants to kill him. Dale wants to spare him, and the others are just, not really sure. So then it gets to a point where, I guess, does Wick try to take him back to his people or something to make a deal? And then I think Shane's, with them as well, but then something happens and they get split up. But then I guess when Shane gets a chance, he kills the guy, you know. And before then, like, Wick and Shane had a big fight as well over the guy as well. And I'm on the way how that went. Yeah, crazy. Just all the things, man. And when it gets to the final part where Shane and Wick are basically at their final stand with each other, where Shane has Wick at gunpoint, but he's able to stop him from doing what he's doing because a part of him knows what he's doing is wrong, but he just wants to. He thinks that Wick's the problem and he wants to kill him, but Wick's just trying to calm him down, but then he has to make a choice to kill his best friend, and you can tell how bad he doesn't want to do this, but he really has no choice. Saying, "This is you, not me, not me." Having no choice, and he's just crying afterwards when his friend dies. Yeah, and then you see Carl with the gun, looking like he's pointing it at Wick, his father, because because Wick thinks that Carl's thinking like he just killed Shane, but really like Carl basically sees that Shane's turned into a walker, and he basically shoots Walker Shane. Man, and then everything else, in beside the dying fire, with basically a lot of Herschel's family getting killed again. Like is it his wife or something, or friend? I can't remember. Just a lot of the other people who are still around, they get killed, but he's able to get Beth and Maggie out. Yeah, but all the others get killed. Yeah, messed up, man. But yeah, what a season, man! It was crazy, and just the way how it ends with it's not a democracy anymore, and just Laurie just hates him, I guess. Yeah. Then they kind of tease the prison, and that's how it ends. It's a good season, but yeah. What do you think of the season? Is it your favourite? Comment down below. Let me know. See you in the next one. Peace.